Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 for 2021 of the Purple Penny coin news. Managed to get online today at 12 o'clock. It's been okay in the shop here this morning. It hasn't been busy, so I've managed to get prepared for this video and get a few other things done. So last week was flat out. First week back after our Christmas break. Yesterday was flat out until 2 o'clock. Really just barely got a chance to scratch ourselves. Who would have thought that a coin shop would be busy? Apologies to those that have heard me say that before. G'day Greg, how you going mate? G'day Gary, how are you mate? We had a visit yesterday from Alex, who you might know is the founder of the Gravy Train, but obviously has stepped aside from the Gravy Train. Alex came in for a catch-up yesterday. It's the first time we've seen him in a little while with COVID lockdowns and stuff. It's been difficult to catch up with people, so Alex brought his 2 daughters in here and spent a bit of time here and gave us some interesting pieces of plastic, Gary, which Catherine and I need to talk to you about at some point. So goings on in the shop, as I said, was busy yesterday. Buying has been interesting. We bought a group of about 25 Maundy sets on Saturday last week and a group of sovereigns, 19 sovereigns. No real sort of spectacular ones in there, but it's always good to see all that gold in one place. Catherine and I are still enjoying ourselves. Website, apologies that we haven't been able to get much up there, but it's been pretty hectic while we're here, and as you would know, I have another job, so that means if I don't take the photos, stuff doesn't get listed up. G'day Brad, how you going? I think it's the first time we've seen you join in. We had your father in here on Saturday, I think, so yeah, it's good to see you, Brad. So what's been going on? G'day Alex. So here's Alex, who came in for a visit yesterday. G'day Andrew, how you going? What's been going on this week? Let's just get that slide up and happening. So last Friday, right after we did the video, the Mint sent out what they call their line listing email, which is how they announce new products to distributors like ourselves, where we have a listing of all the new products along with the prices, just a short description, and that's what we're allowed to disclose to you. We'll have a look at those on the next slide, what they are. So yeah, the next tranche of releases are due out on February the 4th. We're not quite sure at the moment whether that'll be midnight or 10 a.m. I think Catherine's got an inquiry in with them at the moment, but I assume that it will be midnight as usual. The 10 a.m. one for the New Year's Day releases was to do with the first coin of 2021 and some sort of press that the Mint were doing, so that's why that was a bit delayed. Okay, Brad, so yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. It'd be good to see you again, mate. G'day Danielle, g'day Aiden, how are you? Aiden's another semi-regular here. He came in a couple of weeks ago with his father. So what else is going on? I'm told that the 2020 loot bags, which are those little calico bags with the fake gold nuggets, and the 2020 coin sets are quite hot at the moment. Catherine tells me that they're doing very well on the secondary market, so if you've got any of those, it might be time to move those on. The 2019 Jody Clark 50-cent mintage speculation continues. I always have a chuckle about this, but someone actually put up a really interesting post a couple of days ago about Royal Australian Mint annual reports and the numbers of coins that they announced from the 2 years preceding, and apparently in last year's Mint report there were 220 odd million 2018 coins announced. So, you know, what's the takeaway from that? It means that 75,000 mintage that people are speculating is the mintage for the JC 50 cent piece from 2019 is just speculation. I certainly have seen enough people with bags of them on Facebook to make me think that 75,000 isn't going to be the final number, but again, that is purely speculation. Don't overpay on the basis of a speculative number. G'day Paul, good to see you. G'day Andy, good to see you too. Someone asked these last 2 points here, a suggestion from one of our Facebook followers. He asked me to talk about just the $2 market and $2 slabs in particular, because if you are active on Facebook, you would have noticed in the last sort of 10 days or so that a lot of the selling groups were showing large collections of graded $2 coins that were being sold for relatively low amounts. Boxes of 20, 2 boxes of 20, several dozen coins at a time. With the prices looked okayish, I guess. I mean, they always seem a bit high on Facebook to me, but with very little interest from the market. So again, the $2 market has been, I guess the psychology in the market has been damaged by what happened with the reject rolls, and as such I think the value of them will probably continue to go down or at least flatten out. So again, as I always say, don't overpay for these things. Certainly don't overpay for lower graded $2 coins. We do send a few $2 coins to get graded, but obviously we look through a lot to pick out the ones that we want, and I would be looking at population reports of $2 coins and trying to buy those at the upper end rather than paying for lower graded ones. I think they're a false bargain, because a lower graded coin, you really a lot of the time not getting value for the grading fee. So that would be my general opinion on the $2 market. Certainly the heat has gone out of it. G'day Gwen, how are you? And I should just say, and I probably said this last week, that a number of the bigger $2 graders on Facebook have gone very quiet over the last month, gone extremely quiet. So generally I would take that to mean that the easy money has gone and they're finding it a lot harder now. So yeah, that's the $2 market. Now, what's going on with the new releases? So the new releases, as I said, are due on... Oh, that's the wrong one. Due on February the 4th. I assume at midnight, but we will find out exactly when that is. There's all the listings there. So the first one there is the coloured $1 Centenary of Rotary. So I think this is going into circulation. I'm not really sure, but I think it is. So this is a $15 coin on a card, uncirculated coloured coin on a card. There's a silver proof version of that, $105. The Kangaroo series is continuing, and I believe they've been doing Kangaroo since 1993. So that will be available in uncirculated and proof. The uncirculated will probably be in a capsule. The proof will be in a box. If you think back to the Mob of Ruse inspired Kangaroo from last year, that was the format that was in, so I'm going to assume that these will be in the same format. And then you've got the Milky Way coins, and they're, I assume, a follow-up to the Earth, Sun and Moon series. And as Andy has just said, I think that this Milky Way coloured dome coin, the silver proof, I think if I was going to buy one of these coins, and I've got to tell you, I don't usually buy new mint product, I would buy that one. I have seen the designs of all of the coins, and that would be my pick of the designs as well. So, as I always say, don't buy coins to invest in them, because you'll almost always lose. But if I was going to buy one, it would be that one, because it is a pretty looking thing. So they will all be available on February the 4th. The images will be available on February the 4th. mintages and wholesale allocations will be made public on February the 4th. I can't answer any more questions than what you can see there in front of you. I'm not allowed to. As always, keep an eye on our website. If we get an allocation, then available stock will be up on our website. So that's coin news for this week. I don't know if anyone out there has any observations about what's going on in their little part of the coin world that they'd like to share with us. I'll just give you a few seconds to answer. No? Alright, well, I thought I was going to look at planchet floors or something really, I won't say boring, but probably less interesting than what I've decided to look at. And this was simply because of a coin that we bought yesterday. It's a, I'll just get my slide up here. So yesterday I've been talking to a person in Queensland for several weeks. They had pulled a odd looking 2014 50-cent piece out of change back in 2014, and they'd kept it to one side, and this person had spoken to me on and off over the last few weeks, got them to send some pictures through and confirm that indeed their 50-cent piece that they pulled out of change was struck on a 20-cent blank. So it's what's known as a wrong planchet error. Those of you who have been around the error coin market for a while will know that wrong planchet errors are probably the most desirable type of errors that you can find. Certainly, they'd be up there with double obverses and double reverses and sort of early state brockages and things like that. The person in Queensland mailed us the coin and we purchased it off of them yesterday. I put a picture of it up on our Facebook page yesterday and it had a fair bit of interest, so I thought I'd just talk about those errors today. So what is a wrong planchet error? It's a coin struck on a planchet or blank intended for another coin or token. You do see them called different things from time to time: wrong planchet, wrong blank, wrong denomination, off metal, foreign planchet, token planchet. So, wrong denomination, 50 cent on a 20 cent, 10 cent on a 5 cent, 5 cent on a 1 cent, 2 cent on a 1 cent. So that would be called a wrong denomination, I guess. Off metal is obviously, a 5 cent on a 1 cent would be an off metal error. It's been struck on a blank that is the wrong material. And then there's foreign planchets, and that's when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for use in another country, and probably one of the best known ones here in Australia for that would be the $2 struck on Euro 10 cent planchets, which is an error that Catherine actually identified several years ago. We wrote an article for CAB for that, so that's probably one of the best known Australian ones, but there have been obviously more than that. During World War II there were a lot of, well, not a lot, but a number of florin struck on quarter planchets, shilling struck on nickel planchets, shilling struck on dime planchets, and that sort of thing. And in the Australian series there's been a number of 2 cent pieces struck on blanks for Pacific Islands countries. Really, when a mint is making coins for more than one country and the blanks are of different sizes and different compositions, then the opportunity for these wrong planchet errors to occur happens, and and it usually does. And then of course there's token planchets. So the most famous one of these is the 20 cent, I think from, someone will correct me here, I think from 1983 or 82, which was struck by the mint accidentally on Thai temple token planchets, which is a really interesting one. Other well-known ones in the Australian series are the 20 cent struck on the wavy flan Hong Kong $5 blanks. Just trying to think of some of the others. I'm sure some people will tell me there's been dollars struck on $2 blanks and $2 struck on dollar blanks, and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. So how does it happen? Basically through planchet contamination. Now how that happens is purely conjecture. So for example, the $2 on euro 10-cent blanks, the supplier of $2 blanks also makes 10-cent euro blanks, and they're in Korea, and somehow the blank supply to the Australian Mint got contaminated at the source in Korea. When a 50-cent gets struck on a 20-cent blank, and the one I showed yesterday was from 1983, we were making our own blanks then, somehow the 20-cent blanks here at the source got contaminated with the 50 cents. Now whether that's in the blank manufacturing facility, or perhaps a stillage of $2 of 20-cent blanks gets spilled and someone cleans them up, and then another one is discovered and someone just throws it into the nearest hopper, it's purely conjecture. One well-known example is the 1943 American cent. They were all struck in steel, except for a couple of dozen or a dozen that were struck in bronze, and the belief for that is that the bronze planchets got into the production because they were actually stuck in the press somewhere, and they came out during production. So regardless of how it happens, it's some sort of contamination. So we'll just have a look at a few of these wrong planchets here. Right, so that there is the first one there is a florin struck on a shilling planchet. So that's a wartime florin struck in San Francisco, and it's struck on a 5.65 gram shilling planchet. So that's contamination that's happened in the San Francisco Mint. The second coin is the 50 cent that I've been talking about. It's a 2014 50 cent struck on an 11.1 gram copper nickel blank, which is a 20 cent blank. That's well within tolerances of a 20 cent blank. And the last one, we'll just wait for that to cycle around again. The last one is an unknown dated 2 cent piece struck on a bronze blank that's about 2 grams underweight. Now it's definitely struck on an underweight blank. It's not been filed down or treated in acid or anything like that. Trouble with that one is that we don't know what blank that is. So that leads us to an interesting point is, what makes a wrong planchet error worth more? Being able to identify what blank the coin was actually struck on is probably the strongest determinant of value. If it's just struck on an unknown blank, then it makes it very difficult to get good value for that coin. Those $2 on 10-cent euro blanks, when Catherine identified what they were on, the value of those went up by a factor of 10 pretty much overnight. As soon as we knew what they were, I won't say they popped up everywhere, but a lot of the big auction houses, Downies in particular, they must have had some of them. They sold them as what they were, and they were getting a lot more money for them. So obviously the type of blank off metal generally gets better than the same metal. So a 10 cent on a 5 cent is a valuable coin, but a 10 cent on a 2 cent is a more valuable coin. It just looks better. Okay, it's just more desirable. So, and then condition obviously and grade. The other thing is that it is obvious that it's struck on an underweight blank. So the 50 cent that we have shown there, at first glance, it just looks like sort of a slightly odd coin, but when you look at it more closely, you can see metal flow and things like that determine that it is an underweight blank. Now, it would probably be a more valuable coin if the strike was a lot weaker and it was more obvious that it was definitely on an underweight blank. So rule of thumb with errors is the more obvious the error, the more valuable it is. So if it's sort of got subtle things on it that give you an idea that it's an error, then that will not help the value. So that's wrong planchet errors, off metal errors, whatever you want to call them. favourite area of ours. We have a number of them in our own collections, and it's always interesting to see them, and always great to have the opportunity to buy a nice one like this 50-cent piece. So that's it today. We've gone for 21 minutes already. I didn't realise I'd spoken for so long. G'day Cameron, how are you, mate? It's good to see you. If anyone has any questions or suggestions for next week's video, I'll just give you a couple minutes to respond. And if you don't, then I'm just trying to see if there's anything on my desk here that that I can show you. There's nothing big anyway, just lots of little round coins. I would like to thank everyone for watching. It's always good to have a bit of an audience, and we got some lovely feedback about the videos during the week from someone. Catherine was very pleased about it, because Catherine is Andrew. G'day Andrew, how are you, mate? It's good to see you. Andrew is a very old friend of mine. It's good to see him here watching. Thanks Danielle. Lovely feedback from someone during the week, unsolicited feedback, so we like doing these things. Catherine likes that I do them, and you know, we're always looking for interesting topics to talk about. If anyone has any suggestions, please stick them in the comments, or send us an email, or send us a message through Facebook. Always happy to listen to any suggestions, always scratching around for topics. We're only up to episode 2 for 2021. There's another 50 to go, so please give me something to talk about. Okay, bye everyone for this week, and we'll see you next week.